Well guys, if you missed yesterday's video, it's pretty much all but confirmed from Nintendo that we are having a big Nintendo Direct next week. Now this comes from Nate the Hate, a 100 reliable leaker. Most of you guys already know, I've seen you in the comments talking about, oh, it's Nate the Hate, it's happening, because it always happens. So yes, we can pretty much expect a Direct next week. Now he doesn't state if he knows for sure if it's going to be a general or it could be a partner Direct, but he thinks it should be a general because of course it's still the beginning of the Switch 2 life cycle and Nintendo has a lot of stuff to prove to fans, to investors. So yeah, it pretty much has to be a general or the world would crumble. But yes, I'm here to talk about what would be the perfect Direct for next week. What would be the perfect show if Nintendo did everything right in my eyes. Now, this isn't just a pipe dream video. I am going to do my best to keep it as reasonable as I can. I'm not going to sit here and just name off every major IP that's going to happen this year. Luigi's Mansion 4, Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, Splatoon 4, 3D Mario, 3D Zelda, you know what I mean? I'm going to keep it as realistic as possible, but also remember this is a video talking about what the best possible Direct could be, a Direct that would be perfect. So it is going to be a little heavy on content, which probably won't happen. But I'll also say this isn't necessarily for everyone. Potentially there might be someone out there that says this isn't a perfect Direct for me. This is just what I would believe to be a perfect Direct based on where Nintendo is sitting right now to start the year. But without wasting too much more time, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. You guys have been killing it, subscribing like crazy, leaving tons of likes, so I just ask that you continue the hype with today's video. We are getting closer and closer to our goal of 400,000 subscribers. You guys got like over almost 300 just the other day. Thank you so much. So let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from today's video alone to keep us pushing for that goal very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's look at what that perfect Nintendo Direct could look like for next week. In my personal perfect Nintendo Direct, Nintendo would start the show with the Zelda 40th anniversary stuff. But instead of just jumping into Aonuma talking the same way Miyamoto did for Mario's anniversary, it jumps straight into a brand new trailer for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. And this game is a complete from the ground up remake that changes and adds a lot of things to the game by keeping it also very true to its source material, so that way it's not alienating classic fans. But this is one of the most ambitious remakes that we'll ever see Nintendo do, and everyone is absolutely in love with the game. It's beautiful, it is one of the best looking Nintendo games we've seen, and it takes full advantage of the Switch 2 hardware. That's the first thing they do to open up the Zelda anniversary stuff, but they have some more stuff to show us for that first 15 minutes of the show. I'll also probably add right now that the Direct is probably also going to be an hour long if it's going to be perfect, very similar to how they did the past two Directs, but this one's going to be the perfect one. The anniversary continues with a duo pack of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HDs coming over from the Wii U. Yes, these are the Direct ports, but now they're in a duo pack similar to Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2. Unfortunately, they're probably going to be priced at $60, but you know what? Who cares? Everybody wants these games so bad, no one's going to really care about these two. But they announced some other things as well, like some merch, some events, and NSO stuff. Like, for instance, we could probably see Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube NSO. But then they end the segment with a super early tease for the next mainline Zelda game. It's not coming out for a couple years, maybe even longer, but something super small just to give fans an idea as to where they're moving with this franchise. Something like some artwork, maybe a 10-second cutscene like they did with Tears of the Kingdom back in 2019 before it didn't even release until 2023. So something that's just really small to kind of give us an idea of what the art style is going to be, what the world's going to look like, what our new Link is going to look like, something just to get people talking for the next couple of years. This would be really, really awesome, but obviously it would be many years away still. Something else I wanted to add was the Zelda movie, but it might be too soon and not make a lot of sense when they just have been advertising like crazy for the Mario Galaxy movie. They might announce a Direct for it later on down the road or something, or say stay tuned later in the year for more information about it, but I don't think that would be here. We then jump into our first batch of headlines, starting off with Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. It gets a short deep dive and date. The game looks way better than we thought and shows tons of partner characters that Yoshi can partner up with, and they all do crazy things and have crazy mechanics. Yoshi can fight cool boss battles, there's some cool worlds, and a crazy new mechanic that they've been hiding that really shows how good this game is going to be, because I think a lot of people, myself included, are sleeping on this game. So them coming out and showing an actual really cool hidden mechanic or something that really shows off the game's power and potential could bring a lot of people over to this game. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that would be also a great thing to have in a perfect Direct, is Yoshi just to be a stellar looking 2D game. Real quick, I do want to throw this out here. It'd be real cool if the Pokemon stuff was just saved for the Pokemon Presents that would happen a couple weeks later for Pokemon Day, but continuing on. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave will get some new information revealed. Now, I just now have jumped into the Fire Emblem series. I'm playing 3 houses. I'm enjoying my gameplay so far, but I'm only like 15 hours in, so I don't really know what to predict from this game, but I'm just hoping that it satisfies everyone. From what I've heard, Engage kind of pulled back from the elements that 3 houses introduced that people loved, so kind of pulling more from 3 houses, which it looks like it's doing that. There's even some story elements that are tying in from 3 houses. It looks like certain characters are returning, so hopefully this is a trailer and an overview that really gets people excited for this game and everyone loves it. Finally, we get our first major update for Mario Kart World. I don't know if this is going to be in the vibe of DLC, but whatever it is, the perfect direct, it wouldn't be paid. It would all be free, finally making the game worthwhile for a lot of us. For instance, they could just have brand new modes, such as new online modes for like a classic mode, 12 racers, 3-lap tracks, other modes to just keep online active because there's not a lot of stuff that you can do online right now. Revamped intermissions, they've already kind of started with lots of the waterways, do it with the rest of the tracks as well, adding some cool obstacles and stuff on them, new characters and outfits, like new outfits for Donkey Kong and Pauline, because how do they only have one, and other surprises as well. We come out of this saying, man, Mario Kart World has been saved. They've added so much stuff and maybe even announced multiple waves coming throughout the course of the year, just really getting us excited for this thing. And what else would make this a perfect direct that's absolutely not going to happen is they announce new tracks coming towards the end of the year, beginning of 2027, and it all takes place on a separate island, which pretty much going to be a brand new map being built with new tracks, maybe even crossover tracks with other IPs like Kirby, Metroid, Star Fox, Zelda, and everyone gets it for free, or at least it comes with your NSO subscription, so that way they can justify that $80 price tag now. But also with that first batch of headlines, there'll be tons of third-party games, smaller filler games that happen, but they're minimal this time around, like very minimal, where almost every other game is a first-party game that we care about. Even if it's a game that's already been announced, it's information about those games that gets us excited about them. Now, I am doubting that they go too deep with certain games like Mario Tennis Fever, which already had an overview trailer, and Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, which is having a whole Nintendo Direct in a day or so. So yeah, I think it'd be best if they just kind of kept those games to the side, or if they did talk about them, it was like a brief 30-second clip or something. We then reach the middle of the show, and the big information comes to Splatoon Raiders. It finally shows the game off and exactly what's going to be happening, and the game is a single-player Splatoon dream come true, something that we've always wanted, one giant third-person shooter / 3D platformer experience, where there are multiple giant overworlds to explore. Think of this kind of similar to a giant sandbox game, something akin to 64 Sunshine or even Super Mario Odyssey, where you have these giant worlds to explore, bosses to take down, and the worlds can be filled with those kettle challenges that we have within the main single-player campaigns of Splatoon 1, 2, and 3. But the kettle challenges are not the main highlight, the world is. The world is more explorable, there's tons of secrets, Easter eggs, and lore to uncover, brand new enemies, and a villain to just deeper dive into that new lore, and it looks spectacular. And the perfect release date for this would be the summer, around June or July, and fans are stoked for this game. We then jump into the second batch of headlines for the second half of the show, and they have some more information on Rhythm Heaven Groove. It looks like a really good Rhythm Heaven game, and they'll do something like the most Rhythm Heaven minigames in the series to date, and it looks really good, but this time it's filled with extra modes and side content, collectibles, and stuff to do outside of the main batch of minigames. That way it gets you coming back and replaying the game over and over and over again, outside of just trying to get perfects on each minigame. Of course, Kirby has to be in this somehow. HAL Labs always has something in store for us, and as last year we got a Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition, I think this year it would be perfect to finally get a triple deluxe Planet Robobot Duo Pack. Once again, very similar to Wind Waker and Twilight Princess that we could get, and also similar to that Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 one that we got, which means, yes, unfortunately, it would also be $60 probably. But the reason to actually justify this, and maybe even price it at $70 if Nintendo wanted to, would be to add content as well. HAL Labs is good at this. HAL Labs always fills their games, even if they're remakes, ports, or remasters, they always have fun extra modes. Like, they already have extra mini games like Kirby Fighters and stuff in some of those, so maybe you can play them online and they're more expansive this time, and also maybe maybe there's an extra little mode with some extra levels like they did with Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, where they added a Magalore epilogue. So maybe for Triple Deluxe, they have a Taranza epilogue, and for Planet Robobot, they have a Suzy epilogue. Something like that would be awesome. But getting a dual pack of these two games, which are some of the best 2D Kirby games out there, would be extremely awesome. And would be a great way to still hold fans off for the next mainline 2D or 3D game that could be coming. Now, I will say maybe they just stick with one of these games and make it like fully expansive with new content, and that way they can make the other game happen maybe later on down the road. But either way, I think it'd be awesome and a perfect direct if they did both of them. Within the second batch of headlines, there's also going to be more smaller things, including Switch 2 editions. I'm sure they're going to keep adding some. Like there could even be a Switch Sports Switch 2 edition, which has all the sports finally there day one, and maybe some more sports there as well. But something else I think could be a surprise announcement is maybe a new Switch Sports, like a Switch Sports 2 or a Switch Sports Resort, or maybe something akin to Ring Fit Adventure, because both of these games, especially Ring Fit Adventure, sold extremely well, so there's definitely an audience for these type of games. So I would not be completely shocked if Nintendo decided to have another Ring Fit Adventure style of game, but maybe something a little different. I don't know what it would be, but I think that would be pretty cool. So far I think that was a pretty reasonable and a possible direct that we could get. I mean, nothing in that list I don't think at least sounded too crazy or too, pie in the sky hopium predictions, but of course Nintendo still has to end this thing. How do they land the plane of this perfect direct so far? Well, there's only one way to make this truly a perfect Nintendo Direct, and it's to finally give the people what they've been wanting for so long now. Finally, they end the show with a game that we've been waiting for almost 9 years now. They finally pulled the trigger and unveiled the next 3D Mario game, coming as the big holiday game of 2026, and everyone is losing their minds. This is going to be the Breath of the Wild's level of huge holiday game for Nintendo, and it's going to be a giant open world take on 3D platforming. Basically, you're going to see the blueprints of Bowser's Fury on full display here, where Mario can run and go anywhere in the world that his eyes can see. And the world is riddled with platforming challenges, challenge rooms that you can access, bosses, Easter eggs, items, and more. Like, it is just one gigantic 3D platforming playground to play around on until your heart's content. I mean, genuinely, what better way to end a perfect Nintendo Direct than with a perfect reveal? Of course, my mind and my heart is still not yet believing this is going to happen, but of course, for this video, I have to say, throw 3D Mario in there, because there's no other way that you're going to have a quote-unquote perfect Direct for most people. But yes, those are my predictions for what a perfect Direct could look like. Are any of these things, or, some of these things going to happen? I don't know. Only time will tell. And honestly, I don't even see how there's going to be anyone that comes out of this show not satisfied if all this happens. I mean, of course, there's going to be somebody that's mad they didn't get Kid Icarus Uprising. I mean, I wanted to. I almost put it on the list, but I just don't think it's happening yet. And with all the stuff that they could do, I think the list would be way too jam-packed right now for something like that. But yeah, I think the majority, almost 95% of people around the world would be extremely satisfied with this show. But let me know down below, would this be the perfect Nintendo Direct for you? Would you add anything or take away anything or change anything with the lineup? Definitely let me know down below. And please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo, especially as we get into heavy coverage probably with this next week Nintendo Direct, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about and speculate. But thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. See ya, guys.